What happens when the player that jealous WNBA veterans openly tried to tear down doesn't just survive, but completely outgrows the league itself and starts winning on a level they can't even access anymore? Caitlin Clark just shattered another ceiling, landing the most prestigious broadcasting opportunity in women's basketball history by joining NBA on NBC's national coverage alongside literal basketball royalty like Carmelo Anthony and Tracy McGrady, and this moment exposes everything the league tried to deny about her impact. While critics spent 2 seasons claiming Clark wasn't the reason ratings exploded, ticket sales surged, and mainstream fans showed up in record numbers, NBC quietly made their move and placed her front and center on one of the biggest basketball stages in America. And here's where it gets uncomfortable, because while Clark is being welcomed into elite NBA media circles watched by millions every single week, the same veteran players who mocked new fans, minimized her influence, and treated her like a problem are now panicking behind the scenes, begging owners for unrealistic salary demands.
It was announced on Tuesday that Caitlin Clark will join NBC Sports to serve as a special contributor for its new Basketball Night in America program. Caitlin Clark will make her debut as a TV analyst on February 1st, preceding the Lakers versus Knicks game at Madison Square Garden, per a release from NBC.
Caitlin Clark didn't just get another endorsement or media appearance. She crossed into territory no active WNBA player has ever reached before, because NBC Sports officially brought her into their brand new Basketball Night in America broadcast, placing her directly alongside NBA legends on one of the most valuable stages in sports media. This isn't a podcast cameo or a short sideline interview. This is primetime national television tied to the NBA, the most powerful basketball brand in the world, and Clark becomes the first active WNBA player trusted to fill that role. Her debut is set for February 1st at Madison Square Garden, right before the Lakers face the Knicks, which means her first appearance as an analyst won't be hidden on a quiet night. It will be in front of millions of NBA fans watching one of the league's most iconic matchups. NBC didn't ease her in quietly either. They paired her with Carmelo Anthony, Tracy McGrady, and Vince Carter, players whose careers define basketball excellence, while Maria Taylor hosts the show that anchors NBC's entire Sunday night basketball strategy. This is the same...
Wow. So this would be akin to, they have Sunday Night Football, and it starts with a pregame show called Football Night in America. I didn't know they were creating Basketball Night in America, but here we are. It will be Caitlin Clark's first time in an analyst-type role on TV.
The timing of this move makes Clark's rise even louder, because while she's stepping into one of the most exclusive media roles in basketball, the WNBA is quietly spiraling through one of the messiest labor negotiations in its history. Veteran players are locked in chaotic CBA talks filled with public complaints, protest stunts, and salary demands that don't match the league's financial reality. And right in the middle of that chaos, Caitlin Clark separates herself completely. NBC didn't bring her in to represent WNBA politics. They brought her in because she delivers eyeballs, credibility, and cultural relevance, the exact things the league claims it wants, but struggles to protect. Executives openly acknowledge that Clark attracts audiences far beyond traditional basketball fans, pulling in casual viewers, younger audiences, and people who never watched a WNBA game before she arrived. Ironically, those are the exact same fans. Veteran players spent 2 seasons criticizing, dismissing, and calling fake supporters, yet those fans are now the reason Clark is being rewarded with opportunities the rest of the league can only watch from the sidelines. NBC understands what the league refuses to say publicly. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player, she's a media engine, and placing her on a primetime NBA broadcast maximizes that power instantly. Her compensation for this role is expected to exceed many full WNBA salaries, not because she demanded it through negotiations, but because the market decided she was worth it. While others argue,
Caitlin Clark joins Michael Jordan as a splashy acquisition for NBC and NBA coverage. Despite his limited role, simply having Jordan as part of the coverage created buzz. NBC is surely hoping Caitlin Clark's involvement will do the same. Of course, Caitlin Clark is expected to offer unique insights in assuming the analyst role for the first time, and her basketball IQ cannot be questioned. So the transition will be a seamless one for the Indiana Fever's star point guard.
This moment completely shatters the narrative that veteran players spent years trying to protect, because for 2 straight seasons, they insisted Caitlin Clark wasn't responsible for the league's sudden surge in attention, ratings, and revenue. Yet the biggest media partners in sports are now acting as if the answer was obvious all along. NBC didn't need a committee, a union vote, or league approval to recognize what fans already knew. Clark moves the needle in ways no one else currently can, and that reality makes a lot of people uncomfortable. The same players who complained about her getting too much coverage, who accused referees of protecting her, and who went out of their way to physically rough her up on the court, are now watching her sit comfortably next to Hall of Famers, discussing NBA basketball on national television, while they waved inflatable rats outside league offices.
Quote, "I'm really excited to be part of Basketball Night in America crew this season," said Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is one of the most captivating players and dynamic scorers in basketball, said Sam Flood, executive producer of NBC Sports. We're excited to have Caitlin join Hall of Famers Melo, Vince, Tracy, and Reggie in New York for the launch of Sunday Night Basketball.
And this is where the situation turns openly hypocritical, because while Caitlin Clark is being rewarded by the market for the value she creates, the WNBA Players Association is demanding money it hasn't earned and framing it as some kind of moral entitlement. The same veteran players who spent 2 seasons insisting Clark had nothing to do with increased revenue are now using that very revenue spike as justification for massive salary demands that exist completely outside the league's financial reality. They want a team salary cap north of $10 million and individual maximum contracts approaching $2.5 million per player, numbers that would instantly destabilize multiple franchises and push the league toward a lockout. Ownership didn't come in with insults or...
RCBA is so dumb right now that like it's heading toward a lockout. So
no progress.
No.
Like just nothing.
Honestly, nothing. We get like weekly emails from the PA side of things, and it's just like, it's just so dumb.
Yeah.
Dumb.
As these negotiations drag on, something else is happening that the union clearly didn't anticipate. Public support is starting to crack, and it's cracking fast. Fans haven't forgotten the last 2 seasons. They remember the interviews where veteran players mocked new audiences, dismissed casual viewers, and complained about people only showing up to watch Caitlin Clark. They remember the eye rolls, the sarcasm, the gatekeeping tone that made fans feel unwelcome for simply enjoying the game. And now those same players are asking for massive paydays funded by the exact people they spent years insulting, and fans are calling out the contradiction in real time. Social media comment sections are flooded with people pointing out the hypocrisy, questioning why supporters should back demands.
Some of the rhetoric I've heard from their side has been a little bit troublesome. You know, like when a deal is presented that's over $1 million max salary and revenue share, it's called a slap in the face. Like, use different words. And I'm worried that the players might be getting to a point where they might be losing some of the support from the public. The players just need to be a little bit more careful with how they're articulating things, because if you're working whatever job, a max salary of 1.2 million, average salary of 500,000, if you don't think it's fair, that's fine, but don't call it a slap in the face.
And this is the moment where the entire situation stops looking like incompetence and starts looking intentional. Because the real scandal behind these failed negotiations isn't just unrealistic demands, it's a massive conflict of interest sitting right at the top of union leadership. 2 of the most powerful figures inside the WNBA Players Association are simultaneously building and profiting from a competing professional basketball league that directly benefits when the WNBA struggles. Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier don't just hold leadership roles within the union, they also co-own and promote Unrivaled, a rival league that targets WNBA players, sponsors.
God gave you a person, and now you're rejecting it. Y'all should be like Caesar. I appreciate you, Caitlin. Thank you. I can eat a little bit better. She got paid this. She get a signature shoe. Hey, I'm a 2-time MVP. I'm a champion. The fact that there's this much animosity about the person that's feeding you. And I'm gonna say it just like she's feeding y'all.
Yes.
Doors that y'all didn't do. So to be honest, shut up. Cause y'all couldn't do it. Just accept it and benefit. Be happy.
Once fans fully understood that union leadership stood to benefit personally from WNBA instability, the tone online shifted from confusion to outright anger. Because suddenly, the stalled negotiations didn't feel accidental anymore. Supporters began asking why the same leaders demanding higher salaries were openly promoting a rival league during active labor talks, and why they seemed more energized talking about sustainability elsewhere than fixing the league they represent. Every interview, every social post, every sideways comment added fuel to the backlash, because it became harder to believe these negotiations were about player welfare when personal business interests were
When
clearly...
she announced she was going pro, I immediately ran over to Lynn Dunn and said, "We have Elvis." She's like, "What?" I said, "There's been a lot of singers in music. There's only one Elvis. This is Elvis." And I knew, I've been in sports for 40 years. I knew this was something special. There's moving the needle. She's the needle. And I say it, there's been no one like her in all of team sports.
Sophie Cunningham said it in a podcast previously. She sees the conflict of interest between Nafisa Collier, Breanna Stewart, and the WNBA. She sees the conflict of interest. So what are you doing to circumvent that conflict and actually get some of the real facts, some of the real truths that could be taking place?
Caitlin Clark's NBC deal didn't just mark a personal milestone, it exposed the difference between building something and trying to force it. While parts of the league are tangled in ego, entitlement, and conflicts of interest, Clark keeps moving forward by doing the one thing that actually creates leverage, delivering value that people want to invest in. She didn't need to threaten a season, shame fans, or stage protests to get here. She earned her seat through excellence, professionalism, and consistency. As the WNBA faces a critical moment that could define its future, fans are paying close attention to who is growing the game and who is risking it. One side is focused on expanding opportunity and attracting new audiences, the other is trapped in internal politics that push people away. And the message couldn't be clearer.